of a deconditioning of their minds, that they start seeing that whatever these people have done so far was wrong, and that whatever I have done so far was absolutely wrong, and I'm not going to do it. It's a very common thing. I have seen the people who have worshipped Christ prefer to worship Ganesha, and those who have worshipped Ganesha prefer to worship Christ. Just the same. The name is different, but just the same. But they like it. Because Christ means the priest, the confessions, rosaries, and also cemeteries. So they don't want to have. These conditionings itself start showing their own forms, like devils, and Sajogis want to avoid or have nothing to do with them. I remember in the beginning, we had 6-7 hippies from England, and they had come to Rauri. We were having a program. And there were 5-6 real hippies. These were hippies became Sajogis. Real hippies came to the program. I was just sitting like this, and suddenly they said, "Oh no." I said, "What has happened?" I started. As if some snake has entered or what has happened. They were hippies. But with this deconditioning of the conditions, they just couldn't bear those same hippies that they were coming inside. Because you start seeing clearly, very clearly, that all these conditionings had blinded us completely and is misled us into a wilderness. Of course, about ego, in the West people are extremely conscious. There was a leader's wife. I said, "Why don't you help your husband?" She said, "Mother, I'm worried about my ego." I said, "Why?" "If I start doing some work, this ego might develop again, so I'm rather worried." They are so conscious of it that this ego should not come back. One fellow who came to me, and I was talking to him, then he just ran away. I said, "What happened?" She said, "No, those people who go close to mother always develop very bad ego. I don't want to be there close with her." So it's such a mind that sees madness, that sees insanity, that sees immaturity, it sees vulgarity, it sees deceit, hypocrisy, everything so clearly. And in that state, he gets confused and quite upset, wants to run away from it. Then we have some Sajogis who have such problems, who come to Sajoga with problems. Then these people see them with these problems, they are still continuing. Now the Sahasrara doesn't want to accept it. It's terrible. I was like him. No more. Me, I don't want to be that. So they abhor the person who was just like them. They just can't bear him. They just can't tolerate. Then I would say, still, you have to grow. You have to grow. Your Sahasrara has to be cleansed out at such a speed, at such a level and stage, that like soap cleanses everything, it should cleanse everything else. Should not be afraid of anything. Should not have any worry about the conditionings of others or ego of others. That is the state now we have to reach. Today is the Sahasrara day, is the 23rd Sahasrara day. And I shouldn't expect much, I don't want to say anything much about it. But I wish and I hope that all the 1,000 petals of your Sahasraras will be so cleansed that you will never catch from anybody, you will never be frightened of anybody. You will be masters of all kinds of curatives, and also you will be the one who can give solace, peace to others. You will be the one who will be organizing programs outside. You will be the one who will be responsible for Sahaja. And when that happens, then we can see that these 1,000 petals of the Sahasrara have opened out. These 1,000 petals are not yet awakened. They signify the different 1,000 powers of the goddess. Minimum of minimum. These 1,000 ones you can open out yourself by introspection, by looking at yourself, making fun of yourself. Know thyself means know yourself with all the defects you have and also the potential you have and all the good points you have. So as far as you are concerned, when you are looking at yourself, you should just see to the defects that you have. Why do I behave like this? Why do I assert so much? What's the problem? Why can't I see myself clearly? With the transparency of your Sahasrara, you can see your heart, you can see your mind, you can see yourself fully, clearly. What's wrong with you? This transparency can come only if you have really the pure desire, Shuddha Ichcha, to be of that level. Now there is no competition between A and B. We don't say that you got the first prize for coming out of the Sahasrara, or we don't say you have the second prize. There's nothing like first, second in Sahaja. Because we are not running the race. There's no competition between us. Whatever we are doing is for our own satisfaction. Now think of something. There are 5 people who are running. Now they have to think out of these 5 people who goes first. Here it is the other way round. The 5 people are meditating. Now, everyone individually has to see for himself if he satisfies himself or not. Nobody else is going to give a certificate. It is you who has to give certificate to yourself, honestly. It's a very different position. It is you, your Sahasrara, and your attention. And you have to see within yourself, how far have I realized my own powers, my own compassion, my own personality. You will have to test it yourself. It is you are the one who decides. When you are the one who is running, it is you are the one who decides without running, then what is the question of competition? The whole thing disappears into nothing. As I told you the other day, an analogy, that if you are looking at the mirror, then you are the one who is observing. Your reflection is the one that is observed, and there is the action of seeing. So you are in 3 dimensions. But supposing you become the mirror yourself, the whole process is reversed. You see yourself, you don't have to see because you are seeing it all the time. It's just spontaneous. In the same manner, when it comes to Sahasrara, it is your Sahasrara itself gives you the full idea as to how you are. The diagnosis comes from your own Sahasrara. Your own Sahasrara tells you what centers are catching, because all the pitas of these 7 centers are in the Sahasrara. As if the Sahasrara is now watching yourself and reporting to you, see, this is wrong with you, this is wrong with you, this is wrong with you. So, Sahasrara, being the best well-wisher that you have, gives you the right information about yourself. So the best is that you correct yourself. So then achieve that perfect state. That is what you have to do. But once you have achieved the perfect state, you have achieved your aim, you have no aim left. Like the lights now. Till you have to make the lights, you have to work hard. Make the lights, put them right, do everything that is necessary. But once it is made and the light comes into it, then the job of the light is to give the light. So the first function is over. Now the second function is to give it back. You reach your aim, your destination. For example, I had to come here, all right? So I come all the way from my house, come in the car, walk in and come and sit down here. I've finished that part. Over. Now I don't have to walk. Otherwise I'll be all the time running. So all this mad race of this brain stops. For what should it be used now? For enjoying the peace, for enjoying the joy, for enjoying the collectivity. So the labor or the hard work, or you can also say the planning of the future, finishes off. Only thing now you have got it, so better enjoy it. It's like you are coming from outside, you are running, you are very hungry, you want to reach home. Once you reach home, then the food is served to you. Now what's your aim? Nothing but to enjoy the food for which you are running. But after that also, if you start running, then one should say it is absolute stupidity. But the capacity of enjoyment only comes when your Sahasrara is absolutely open. Otherwise, the capacity to enjoy is much less. And you become like a person who is running all the time. After something, which you never achieve. There are many like that. All their lives, they are like mad, They are working morning till evening, every day, achieving nothing. Next day again get up, again running. All their lives running like that. Till their foot is in the grave, they are still running. But after getting to Sahaja, you stop all these activities and leave it to your Sahaja to work, to your Sahasrara to work it out. And it works out. You don't have to rush, you don't have to be so competent, you don't have to write down everything, you don't have to think of planning everything, just everything works out. And it works out beautifully. The only thing that one has to do is to accept whatever is happening for our good. Even in small, small things. For today's delay in the puja is the desire of some people who wanted to give you some sort of I shouldn't say that, but some secret show was going to be there. And they didn't want any light. So they were thinking what will happen, the puja will be over by about 5, then by 6 o'clock they'll eat their food, but the sun would be there after 9 o'clock. Then how can we show this? All right? So have it in the night. Every small thing you will see. Some people were coming from India and they had to bring my 2 boxes from there. And they wouldn't allow these boxes. They said it is overweight. So they didn't know what to do. They thought that they should send them back and later on it can go till Guru Puja or somewhere. But they thought that there must be some plan, must be some drama. The plane was late 19 hours. So they thought there must be some drama. And then they were put into some sort of a tourist hotel for that night. Next morning, they met 2 other Indians from Sahajogis from Pune. 2 boys. That settled it. My luggage, they could put it in their name. And that's how the luggage came in. But they never felt bored, 19 hours. We had nice time together, we were enjoying and talking, finished. Nobody feels that time is passing out, otherwise anybody else would have eaten up all the airport personnel. I would have broken all the telephones. Waiting for 19 hours, my God, what is this? Would have given it in the newspapers, everyone, it's the greatest crime. While these were enjoying life nicely. So, we have lost now the sense of aim. We don't have any aims. We just want to enjoy. It's a very, very big thing that has happened because, as you know, the joy in the Sahasrara is Nirananda. Nirananda. Of course, Nira is my name also, but it means pure, absolute joy. Nirananda. And that Nirananda, that joy, has no other hues. It's just pure, pure joy. Without thinking, it just pours into it. After all, every activity is for what? For getting some sort of a pleasure, sensation, and also some people believe for joy. It's not. Only after the opening of Sahasrara and the cleansing of it, then you know what is joy. You can't explain how you can spend hours together like this. People don't understand. Like even our mayor was telling me that we can't sit in the church for more than 15 minutes and how people are sitting here for so many hours. 15 minutes we cannot sit, but how these people are sitting for such a long time? What are they doing there? What is their entertainment? How can they sit for hours together without saying anything, without dropping even a pin? They are just all the time there. So what have we given them? What is happening to them? This is very surprising and remarkable that these people who are not even Sahaja-yogis can see clearly that you people are least bothered, you are absolutely enjoying life. Whatever you may be doing is not important. What is important is that whether you are working in the office or outside, you are full of joy, enjoying everything. This is the most important thing in life, which you can have only through Sahaja Yoga. Because your sastraras are open, because they are open. There is now one more thing I have to tell you that is very important for all of you to remember. That while living in this ocean of joy, we have to remember that there are many who have not yet jumped into it. So we have to bring them in. And it's such a pleasure, such a joy to give realization to someone. Extremely joyful. So we need people who would come and say that we definitely come for this. They should really come forward. And once they come forward, you'll be amazed how things will work out. There are many I know who are going all over, everywhere, and spreading Sahaja Yoga. So it's very important for all of you to know that you have got the light to be given to others. Come forward. Don't have fear of your ego, condition is nothing. Come forward. You have all the strength, you have everything within yourself, and you will do everything with such happiness and joy. Everywhere, in every country, people are doing that, but some of them are doing, some of them are not doing. All of you are quite capable of doing it, so please come forward and see for yourself what you are capable of. First of all, you should have faith in yourself. If you have no faith in yourself, you cannot do anything. Have faith. You should have no fears of any kind. And also to introspect, to see within yourself what's going on. To be very frank, I find my brain absolutely empty. What I talk from this emptiness, I don't know. You will also find your brain absolutely empty. And still, with that empty brain, you will be achieving a lot. It's very remarkable, as you have seen, that from the candle you get cool breeze. How can you get from the candle cool breeze? You do get. So it's important to recognize yourself as a Sahaja Yogi and to recognize what have you done for Sahaja Yoga. Without doing for Sahaja Yoga, you cannot enjoy life. That was your aim. And that's the aim you have reached. Now, if you don't, supposing I have to come and sit on this thing and I don't sit on this thing, then what's the use of coming here? I came here to tell you something about Sahasrara. And if I don't tell you, then what's the use of my coming here and celebrating Sahasrara Day? In the same way, when you have reached that state now, what you have to do is not to use for your own purpose. You have used it quite a lot. For your health, wealth, everything. Now what are we doing about Sahaja Yoga? What have we done for Sahaja Yoga? After some time, you will do a lot and you will never know you have done anything for Sahaja Yoga. Very surprising it happens to so many of you, and should happen to all of you. I hope all of you will realize that your sastaras are clean, completely, you are perfectly all right, you don't have to worry about it, and you can really go ahead with spreading of Sahaja Yoga. May God bless you. When Warren talks about other gurus, I can't help laughing. It's beyond me to understand why people get stuck up with them. It's really beyond. Because it is so obvious that God cannot be bought. You cannot pay for God. It's absolutely obvious. For any intelligent man, it should be obvious. How much did you pay to become a human being? From, say, monkeys? Or what did we do? Did we cut our tails or anything to become human beings? We have become by the grace of God. What can we pay for the grace of God? It's very simple. You cannot. God doesn't understand money. It's human beings who have created money and all these things and economic wants and all this economic problem. God doesn't understand any economics that you have made. He doesn't understand. This is all your own doings, your own projections and complications, and you are entangled into it. It is as simple as that. And when you see these people who live on other people's money, I call it opium, or parasites. You won't live on other people's money, will you? Any one of you? So they do not even have a simple self-respect. Not only that, but these parasites are thriving. It's so obvious, so very obvious, that we like befooling. The more one is able to befool us, the better we are. I went to Calcutta once for a program, and I had many programs, but one of them was in a very posh place, as they call it, in a hotel. They arranged a program. I said, these hotel people, you see, these rich people, they will not be interested in Sahaja Yoga. They are a bit too rich from all over the world. Overly rich people can never understand this. See, they want somebody who will take money from them and they can show off their money. And we had a program, and there were 2 halls. I told them, take a very small one because I know them too well. And the bigger hall was occupied by another fellow who was with some sort of a show on stuff. And we were amazed that except for 2 people, most of them who came inside went to his program. And after 8 days he was arrested in Pune for robbing people. But all of them went to his program and not to mine, when it was written not a single pie will be charged and it's all free and all those things. And he looked so dishonest from his own photograph, if you could see, that was so dishonest to look at. And people could not see that. I mean, it was so simple to see. See, that shows that you have lost every sensitivity to know what is plastic and what is real. It makes me laugh sometimes the way, today only I was discussing in the aeroplane with somebody who was seriously telling me how much he was tortured by another group where he paid 3,000 pounds just to get some sort of a horrible mantra which has no meaning. And where he worked very hard for days together. And he broke his back and he broke every part of his bone in the backbone area and all sorts of things he did. And I mean, he became so nervous, a recluse. They are even frightened of a garlic if they see one garlic. I mean, after getting realization, you have to be a person who is absolutely powerful, in control of yourself, not aggressive, but not to be such a cowardly recluses. And he told me all these things and I didn't know what to do because it was such a description that you don't know whether to laugh or to cry, really. Because this thing behind it is all hocus pocus, absolutely hocus pocus. I think this word must have started after the fake have come in this world. Absolutely absurd it is to say that you'll fly or you will see the light and all this nonsense. And on top of that, the suffering of the person, of a person who is a genuine seeker, who is the seeker of the truth. He is the man of God. And he is being tortured like this, you see. Makes you so unhappy. You just don't know what to say about the whole thing that's happening. You have to wake up to your self-esteem and know that you are created human beings for a special thing and not to be bounced and cheated by these horrible fake people. One has to understand the innate nature of God, to understand what should happen to you as realized souls. If you become abnormal and freaky, then it is not that you have got your realization. On the contrary, a person who is realized becomes extremely normal. He is the most normal person. Apart from these things, there are some reasons built in within us which makes us so stupid. Really built in, I should say. Because we have come from matter. We are gross. Our origin has been gross. We came from matter. And we grew up to see that there is something beyond the matter, that is the spirit, and we are the spirit. But we get dominated by this matter. We really get dominated by matter all through in our ventures. For example, if you are sitting in a chair, for example, you make a chair out of some matter, you cannot sit on the ground. You form a habit of matter. Matter starts growing on you. You become such a slave of matter that you cannot get over it. Any matter you start using, for example, you use a car, then you cannot do without a car. You use electricity, which is a material power. If it fails, everything goes out. You cannot do without it. So matter is all the time trying to overpower the spirit. But the beauty is through your evolution, you evolve to a stage where you are a human being and you start seeing the matter cannot dominate your spirit. This should be the self-estimation. There should be understanding that you are the spirit and not the matter. When you see this simple point, then you understand that you cannot purchase God. Then another point also one understands that it is not the way materially you say somebody you should accept. But spiritually, if he does something spiritually to you, then you should accept. For example, seeing the light. They say, you see the light. Why? I see the light myself. Yeah. But to see the light, I have to be away from the light. Do you see the point? You have to be the light. So, it's a very simple thing if you understand. It's common sense. That if you have to be the light, then you have to be inside the light. Part and parcel of the light. But to see the light, you have to go further. Actually, from this distance, I can't even see. If I have to really see the light, I have to go much further to see this light. All these things that they are talking, I'm telling you, it's such a camouflage, and they have been very good at befooling you. It is impossible to convince people who want to be befooled. It is impossible. It is easy to befool them because they are anxious to be befooled. It's all right. But those who want that they should really realize it, they should get it, then the attitude is very different. They would like to go and see what the disciples have got. These people who have paid so much money, there have been people for 15 years, 20 years, go and see them. What have you got? If they say, all right, I'm feeling very much better in health, you look at the face and you will know they are not. Supposing they fail, I feel relaxed. So what? What is so great for feeling relaxed? So-called relaxation. You can feel relaxed even with a dope. Even going to a pub you might feel relaxed. In some company you might feel relaxed. So what? What is so great? Is that something God's work? Just to relax you?
Some people say, I
feel better. This might be ego pampering. But what powers did you get yourself? If you become the spirit, then you have to have powers of the spirit flowing through you, isn't it? It should be a common, logical conclusion. What is the power you have got? What have I got from them? They have taken all my purse, my money, thousands of pounds have gone to him, everything done. What did I get from him? We should have an understanding. But this nobody asks because there's a big mafia in all these organizations. You are not supposed to discuss.
You are not supposed to talk.
You are put into different compartments. It's a big secret going on. If you tell some Indian, he'll just laugh. Because he knows the meanings of these words are so stupid. Some of the words of the mantras means this, showing this. Some of the words mean scorpion. Some of them means the serpent. All kinds of things. And some of them means the siren. In a very ridiculous way, these people have befooled you. A sort of a respite they have taken, I think. Or is it the respite of the satanic on the divine people who have come on this earth to seek God? Is that the attack of these negative people who are trying to defile you completely and ruin your images on this earth? You have to be aware of that. You are very vulnerable because you are seeking. You are more vulnerable because you have no self-esteem. You treat yourself so cheaply. You do not judge into what lion's den you are entering into, and you get so badly hurt. With all your sincerity, with all that, you do not give a second thought to think that even if there are thousands of them going, before I going there, I should find out what sort of a nonsense is going on there. If you go there as an ordinary visitor, you will immediately find out that this is a fake and a false thing. You are warned in the Bible. it has been warned that there will be fake and false people coming on this earth. Now, there are another type of people also. I will cover the chakras later a little because giving a little introduction to the subject about how to avoid these things. Who are bound by ritualistic ideas, as he said about Christianity, of giving very subtle forms of things. But we must see what it is doing. Like Church of England, can you imagine? Church of England owns the whole of Soho. And the question was raised, how can you own this Soho where all the prostitutes are earning their livings? The answer came in that Christ looked after Mary Magdalene, who was a prostitute. See, you can see. And the people accepted this answer. Then the whole thing of a ritual starts. You see, come along here and sit down and bring the child and we baptize. It's a joke. It's a very big joke. Baptism is a living process within you. It's a living happening. Did Christ baptize any one of them? Did he put his hand on anybody's head and say, you are baptized by me? Ask the question. Did he do it? Now how are these people doing it? They have taken Christ into their hands as if they found him somewhere in the stone, somewhere. What right have they got to say that they are baptizing? It's a living force of God which resides within you. He said that I'll appear before you like tongues of flames. Let them explain this point only. Then they'll say he is the Alpha and the Omega. What does that mean? For all practical purposes, what does that mean to you? For that, you have to read Devi Bhagavad. What was Christ? Who is he? How he is Alpha and he is Omega? Why he came on this earth, really what was his purpose? Is nothing there, just some few people who are not realized saw him and wrote it down, finished. How can that become such an authority for anyone whatsoever that you are fighting? It's very deep. It's because it is so narrow, it is extremely deep. You have to widen it to see. For example, you are standing on a well which is very narrow. And just hardly can see anything inside. You just see something flickering. To see the complete vision of that well, you have to increase the narrowness of it. And that is we are not prepared to do because you see Bible is the last word. Now I would say any other person would come and say, what is the authority of Bible? Now what authority will you give? If you say Christ is the authority of Bible, take it like that. Christ never wrote Bible. He never wrote a word. So how do you connect? Could be some journalist who could have written about him. Could be anything absurd. If the Hindus say the Gita, ask them who wrote Gita. Krishna never wrote Gita. Never. Did he write it? So what is the authority of it? Nothing. Gita has no authority as such. How do you say that Gita was the one written by Krishna? It has nothing to do. Anybody, supposing you see me today and you write about me, you can write anything you feel like. Like a journalist came just to sort of find faults with me. She was paid by some fake guru. And she wrote that I eat betel nuts, which I have never eaten all my life. I wish I could, because that pleases some people. But I never eat. I mean, I should have eaten, but I never eat. And she said that she eats betel nut. I don't know from which angle she saw me eating betel nuts. If she had written Bible about me, it would have been something funny. Then that is not the authority either. Moreover, they did not have tape recorders to tape anybody's lectures or anything. Even his photograph was not there. That is today all these things are available. So what is the authority? This is the problem with us, is that we accept certain things as an authority because we think we can control people by this misappropriation of authority to ourselves. There have been people who said, I am the Christ. I said, all right, walk on the water. First sign of Christ is he will walk on the water because he is Omkara itself. He is Omkara. He can walk on. He has no body as such. He can walk on the water. All right, walk on the water. And first step will maybe in the water, the second will go down. All such hocus pocus could be found out. If somebody says that you give me money, I'll make you fly. Put him on this Leaning Tower of Pisa. What is it meant for? After all, it must be used also sometimes. And throw him down. See how far he goes with flying. Have a nice show for him. That's how you can find out these people, whether it happens or not. So this is how I find in this country also invasion of negativity, of these people who are here to spoil your chances of realization. And it's very difficult to give realization to people who have been to these people, have been initiated, have been really spoiled in their kundalini, is rather difficult. I have worked day in and day out to neutralize it. And I have been working. But the interest in yourself will only come when you will have self-esteem. That is very important. And that is the center of Vishuddhi Chakra. This center. I came up to the heart chakra the other day. And now today I am going to talk to you about the Vishuddhi. Vishuddhi is this center placed at the backbone here, which has given a human being a speciality which separates him from animals, that he raised his head upward. By raising his head upward, he has been able to create a new dimension for his brain. And this new dimension is a dimension by which he creates ego within himself. Before becoming a human being, I hope you can see, all of you. Can I come move this side? Before becoming a human being, your brain was flat and all covered with the superego, at the most, like dogs, or you can say the horses. They have this superego. And when you became human being, a locking system took place by which you started developing, or you can say a twist took place by which you started developing your action. For example, an animal does not know how to make a chair out of wood in action. Physically, at the most, it might carry this chair which is made, put it there and mimic you, sit on that. But it cannot make anything with its hand. Maybe it can weave a small little nest or something like that for it to live, at the most. So you, with your action, can overpower the matter. You have been able to achieve great heights in overpowering all the 5 elements by using them as power for your everyday use also, like electricity, magnetism, sound, everything, ether. But animals, when they come in contact with human beings, they also can be conditioned as far as their understanding of relationship with human beings is concerned, but not that they could be made to act onto some matter. And this action, the physical action, has given a byproduct which is called as ego. This is the beginning. Then the second action is the thinking. The animal doesn't think of the future. He doesn't have any insurances. Animal is not bothered about insurance or what will happen to my great-grandchildren when I die, what part of my house will be going to which children. He's not bothered about all these things. And he does not even have such a sense of possession as human beings have. So, it so happens that we start developing our ego when we start planning for the future, thinking of the future, going in the future, and also when we use our physical being to create something or to do any physical work. If an animal goes and attacks a cow or something, say a tiger, and brings it home for his family, he is not proud, he is not egoistical like human beings are. While human beings, if they earn about, say, $500, they become very egoistical. They think we have earned such a lot of money and we have done so much, we have every right to dominate the wife, and vice versa. But an animal doesn't think that he has a right to dominate. See, whatever he does in the nature of his own personality, he doesn't do it as an idea that he has to do this and he is very important and he doesn't have that ego. So he does not even think that this is karmas, that I have to face for it, and I have done something wrong, I have killed a cow, so I must go to a Brahmin and pay him a lot of money because I have done such a sin. These ideas do not come into the heads of an animal. Because he is not used to that dimension, a new dimension of karmas, to which human beings are because of these two creations. Because of ego, you feel you have done bad karmas or good karmas. If you had no ego, you would never have felt that. These two things starts at this point, as you see it very clearly, should start from there, but is put down there. Actually, these start maneuvering from this point. And you start developing ego and superego in your head, and you develop a triangular brain, a prism-like brain. And when such a brain has developed, then a new problem starts that through this prism, whatever energy passes into it, most of it goes out according to the parallelogram of forces. That I have no time just now to tell you. Because of that, your attention is all the time outside. You can only do something outside. You cannot take your attention inside. Now supposing I say you put your attention inside, because you have to go inside, you cannot do it. You just can't do it. Your attention is always outside. I have to do this, I have to go there, I have to get it. But you cannot put your attention inside. That's not possible. I cannot just order you that you put your attention inside. Some happening has to take place within you. Supposing something suddenly falls off, then your attention goes there. In the same way, when the happening of the Kundalini awakening takes place, then your attention goes to that which is awakened there. And you start just seeing the awakening. Or you can say the feeling the awakening. But it is such a quick thing, split of a second, that sometimes you miss everything except that you see the cool breeze has started flowing through. Sometimes you do feel it's here, it's here. So many people feel that way also. It's come up now, it is here throbbing, now it's all right, it has started broken. It depends on what sort of a runaway you have. If the runaway is horrid, then you see, you go on feeling all the bumps and the dumps and everything. Sometimes the runaways are so badly spoiled that it takes sometimes months for the Kundalinis to rise. But now I think in Sahaja Yoga we have developed such methods and techniques of such permutations and combinations that nowadays it's much easier to raise the Kundalini than it was about, say, 10 years back when I had about 20 disciples with whom I worked for 2 years to give them realization. In London, I had 6 disciples. For 4 years, I worked on them to give them realization. But today we have thousands in UK, and we have lots of them in Sydney also, and in India also we have thousands, where they just get it in a second. But it's a different thing now because it has evolved so well. But this happening is a living happening. This you cannot do. You can jump, you can stand on your heads, take out your clothes, wear some badges, wear some clothes. You can do all that. But you cannot make the Kundalini rise in the sense you see the pulsation there at the triangular bone. You see the pulsation of the Kundalini there. Actual pulsation. You can see the rising of the Kundalini. You see it. You also feel the cool breeze rising. You can also, with the stethoscope, feel the sound, lap, 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 lap. Coming up to here, which Kabira has very clearly said, Shunya Shikhara para anahada bajire. At the apex of the Shunya Shikhara, zero apex of your head, you hear first the anahata. Anahata is this sound of the heart, without percussion. And that is how you feel the Kundalini. And then it breaks through, you feel it actually on your fingers. It's an actualization of the experience. This is what baptism is. When Warren Reeves said that you never had your real baptism, do not be angry with him. Because it's a fact. You have not got your realization. Christ has said that you are to be born again 100 times, he said. So now they have started saying we are born again. It's again self-certification. First of all, it was baptism. Nowadays there's another thing started, that we are born again. Now they come and ask, these people, they change from one to another. That how is it? Through Christ. You have to get through. And you will see only in Sahaja Yoga you will understand that ultimately you have to pass through the gate of Christ only to enter into the kingdom of God. Is a fact. What he said, he never told lies. He told the complete truth, nothing but the truth. But the way you interpret it, the way you understand it is so narrow that you do not want to accept it. This is the gate about which he has talked. And this is the greatest thing he has done to us. Now this Vishuddhi Chakra is the center of Sri Krishna. If I say it is the center of Sri Krishna, you may start doubting me. You should doubt me also. It's not proper. It is not problem with Indians because they know it is the center. They know about centers. They know where Krishna resides. And they know there are 16 petals to this. And that they know that he is called as a complete incarnation of 16 petals and all that they know. I do not have to quarrel with them. And the center here of Christ is actually a little confusing because he is called as Mahavishnu. In Indian literature he is called as Mahavishnu, not as Christ. And he is also Bauddha, not Buddha but Bauddha, which they got a little bit confused in our old scriptures. It's a difference of language. In one of my lectures on Christ, you'll find out about his origin, why he was called Jesus, why he was called Christ, and what is the origin of these things, why it was derived, who was his mother, and everything you will find out from that lecture that I have got for you. It is better that you go through that lecture and see for yourself. We have lots of these tapes already in Sydney. They can send it over to you. You can look at it from that angle. I mean, in this small little time, I cannot elaborately talk about Krishna and about Christ. But only thing I have to tell you that there's a very great relationship between both of them. And Christ is the word, comes from the word Krishna. Kist in India means the agriculture, and Krishna also come from Krishi, which also means agriculture. Agriculture means the one where you sow, and they are the sowers of the seed. They have sown the seed in the fields. So, the sowing of the seed is done by Sri Krishna, and the Gita that he has described is also another very interesting thing about which we are very much confused. Krishna never wrote Gita, first of all. Then it was never written by an absolute Brahmin or anything who was a born Brahmin, but was written by an illegitimate child of a fisherwoman. How can he write, a man like that you are born as a Brahmin? You are to be born as a Brahmin. What he was meaning, that when you are born as a Brahmin, then you have the aptitude to seek God. For example, you are all Brahmins in his own words. That means you are the seekers of God. All the seekers of God are Brahmins, and the seekers of power are Kshatriyas, and the seekers of money are Vaishyas. It meant the aptitude, but Hindus as usual have made, like all others have made, a mess of all that philosophy. According to them, you are born a Brahmin. Even if you are the greatest crook of the world, you are a Brahmin. And even if you are a person who is a very highly evolved person, if you are not born in a Brahmin family, then you are good for nothing. This caste system is such a horrible thing in India, which has no explanation at all in the scriptures, because it is written that in everyone resides the spirit. There is spirit in every one of you. How can you have caste system? You can have aptitudes. But as usual, people have escapes of everything. This point that everybody has the spirit within yourself. Gita has described it, that everyone has the spirit within. But one has to know, when he says there is spirit within you, that means he is meaning the human beings have the spirit, not the devils. Because Krishna himself has killed so many devils in his lifetime. One of the powers was Samharakam, he's killing. He used to kill so many devils, so there are devils also. On this principle that there is spirit in everybody, why did he kill so many devils? The devils do not have spirit in them. They are devils and devils and devils. For example, say Hitler, if he comes to ask for a realization, do you think he can get it or he should get it? His greatest reward would be a rigorous imprisonment into hell for all his lives to come.
How can you be so sure he was not Krishna casting out all devils?
How can you be so sure that he wasn't Krishna casting out devils, more devils?
He was not.
How can you be so sure that Hitler was not Krishna casting out devils?
For that you must get your realization. That's why. You see, the surety only will come when you become your absolute. Just now you cannot be sure. For example, I'll tell you, when you get your realization, you get your vibrations. All right? Now with these vibrations, you can find out what is true, what is not true. Now you may say this may be all a myth. For example, we had some Brahmins in one of the programs I had first arranged. And I didn't know they had a fight with these organizers. But they said, she's not a Brahmin, how can you have a program here or something like that? And they were sitting in front row. I didn't know they had a quarrel. I just asked them, I said, who is Brahmin among you? Who thinks he's a Brahmin? Just come forward. So 5, 6 of them, you see, like great wrestlers came and sat before me. I said, all right, please be seated. Very arrogant. I said, sit down. I said, put your hands towards me like this. And they started shaking their hands. They got a little frightened. I said, why are you shaking? He said, because we are Brahmins and you are the power, that's why we are shaking. I said, see your neighbors, they are also shaking. Yes, yes, they are also shaking. They may also Brahmins. I said, please ask them what are they. They asked some people, they said, these are the people who have come from the lunatic asylum. These were the only 2 people who were shaking there. I said, now relatively you can see that when you thought you were a Brahmin, you are mad too. To believe into such a thing. Now to believe that Hitler was also good is a typical sign of escaping in life horrible things. This, you see, just to have an idea that everything is fine is the best way of jumping into the devil's den. And that's what has happened with people, that they never doubted anyone. And I don't know from where do people get these ideas in everybody's life. Even Christ, he took a hunter in his hand and he was whipping all the people. He was love, he was compassion, no doubt. But he did whip them. He also said that don't throw pearls before the swine. His compassion had a special purpose, which I will tell you just now, why he got himself crucified also, which is a very important thing. But when we just say that everything is fine, everything is good, the reason is we do not want to face the reality. Because perhaps maybe we cannot understand that there could be anything bad. But after realization you discover that yourself there are problems. Yourself there's something wrong with you. Leave alone others. There are problems within you which you have not seen and faced. Perhaps there are problems within you which you don't want to see in others, because then you will not be able to justify them. But after realization you get out of yourself. Like this sari I am wearing, if I am not identified with it, I see a spot, I would like to clean it. I see it, I want to clean it. I don't say it's a good thing to have the spots there. But supposing I'm identified, I'll hide it. I'll say, oh, there's nothing wrong, everything is all right. There are evildoers, not one, but so many these days that you have no at all idea. If you had, you would not have lost so much.
Is there such thing as a conscious evildoer?
Beg pardon?
Is there such thing as a conscious evildoer?
What's it?
Would you be able to just leave your questions till the end? Mataji will invite questions at the end.
All right. Now, the thing is, whatever happens to us in our consciousness is only limited to our human awareness. Whatever we see in our human awareness, at the time when Krishna came, we got our human awareness. In that, what do we have? Only 2 points. One is our superego, which is our conditioning. Another is our ego, which we have achieved as a myth, that we have done this, I am that, I like this, you like this. So we are only 2 things, either superego or ego. We wobble between the two. The third thing which should be within us is our spirit, heart, in the heart. And for that, the central point is the point by which we balance between these two, between the desire and the action. We go on balancing in the center by understanding what is the best. For example, a person drinks a lot. He kills himself by drinking. His son need not read any book to know that drinking is bad. He knows that it is bad. His father is killed because of drinking. So he takes a life which is very much with moderation towards it. You start learning by so many experiences, right and wrong, how to be in the center. That's all you can learn. With human awareness, you can only learn how to be in the center. Now you have to go beyond this human awareness, to be the awareness of the spirit. And when you become the awareness of the spirit, that you should become, that you should ask for, that should be your goal. When you become that, then the whole picture becomes different. Because you can feel it yourself and understand what is right and wrong on your vibratory awareness, which is a new dimension within you. Even children, say take 10 children who are realized souls. If you ask them what's the matter with another person, they will immediately raise the same finger and say this is the matter. When you ask the person, have you got a very bad cold, cough or something, bronchitis, he will say yes. If this hand is shown, that means all the left side, that means he's suffering from emotional trouble. You do not know anything about your chakras at all before realization. One must accept this. One has to accept whatever it is, there's nothing wrong in it. It's only your ego which stops not accepting. And then once you get your realization, you start feeling your different centers. You start feeling it, actually you start feeling it. And you start feeling the centers of others.
Anyone who wants to know whether this person is evil or not is only to ask the question, and you can feel it. You can't even bear some of the horrible vibrations you get from people. Some of the Sahajogis tries for asking for some devilish people, and they got actual blisters, especially Mr. Hitler, whom we are supporting now. Actual blisters on the finger, actual blisters. This is what it is. After realization, your real absolute self comes in, because you become the spirit which is in the heart. The spirit resides in the heart, but this is the place of its seat. There are 7 seats in the head, and the seat of the spirit is here. When the Kundalini goes, it's just a very small thread of Kundalini rises, because there are lots of problems. And a very small, through the Brahmanadi is the centralmost channel, it rises and opens this. When it opens it, the grace comes down. And when the grace comes down, you get completely relaxed, because it falls on both the sides, on the Ida and Pingala Nadi, which are the manifesting our left and right sympathetic nervous system. By which you feel first relaxed, thoughtless, and then when it is a little bit established, you start feeling the cool breeze, because your spirit has started manifesting, and you just feel a cool breeze like a wind coming into you. First you may feel tingling, heat, all that is going out. Sometimes people little bit shake also, because if the nerves are not properly built up, if they do not have the strength to bear it, then it sometimes happens that you shake a little bit. Doesn't matter. After some time, you start sustaining it. It takes time into some people. In some people, it doesn't take time at all. It's the quality of your central path of Sushumna is important. If it is very simple, there's no problem, then the Kundalini takes no time. She's anxiously waiting. She's your mother. She's the pure desire within you, the power to become one with your spirit. Unless and until you achieve it, whatever you may try, you do anything you like, you spoil your Sushumna, but you'll have to get it, otherwise your seeking will not be over. You have to reach the place where you should say, I have found it. If you have not found the spirit, you will never be happy with any sort of thing you do. Anything you do, be kind to yourself, be gracious to yourself, and get your realization. This is a simple thing as a mother I would like to tell you. There's nothing to be done except by getting realization. But if you are an adamant person, and if you are employed by some of the gurus to come here, or you are running a lawyer's job for other gurus and all that, you cannot get realization. I am sorry you cannot get it, I cannot help it. But you have to identify with yourself and see to it that you want to have it, then only you will get it. If you do not have the desire to have it, you will not get it at any cost. You are not to be forced into it. Your freedom is completely respected. If your freedom is not respected, how are you going to enjoy the freedom of your spirit? So it is completely in your hand to be free to accept whether to get realization or not. Now, this chakra of Vishuddhi is very important, because there are 16 subplexuses which are looked after by it. For example, ear, nose, throat, all these things are looked after by the center of Sri Krishna. And this center has got 2 sides. One is the left, another is the right side. I have to talk about it because most of the people in the West somehow suffer from the left Vishuddhi. One of them is the reason maybe smoking. Right is more affected by smoking, but later on it goes to the left also. But I think the more important is that you people have developed a theory, I don't know how, that you have to be guilty for everything. Maybe it is from your childhood, you are brought up this way, don't spoil the carpet, don't spoil that, don't do this and don't do that. Maybe your confessions in the churches, maybe, I don't know what to blame, but it's a very good indulgence for people to sit down and say, oh, I should not have done this, I should not have done that, criticizing yourself and analyzing yourself. This is also a very good escape of egoistical people. They are egoistical, they dominate others, and then they sit down and weep on the left Vishuddhi. This left Vishuddhi is such a dangerous thing that it creates problems of the worst nature in human beings. For example, if you have, say, any cancerous growth within you, and if you have left Vishuddhi, it's going to be difficult to cure, because the escape of the Kundalini has to be through the Vishuddhi chakra. And the Vishuddhi chakra on the left-hand side is very important for the escape of all these tensions of the cancer. And if you have this kind of a bad habit of sitting down and indulging into this kind of a nonsensical thing, like sitting down like Lord Byron and reading some sort of a tragedy and making a tragedy out of you, it's a drama going on. What is there to be tragic about you? What's wrong with you? You are very rich people, you have everything. Still, why do you want to cry and weep? All the time you are in a crying mood. Why? God has given you so much. Do you ever say that? Count your blessings one by one. How many blessings you have got? You do know. You are especially blessed people, especially in this Australia. I think you are especially blessed. But you want to show that you are extremely miserable. The worst are French in this, I would say. Because when I went to France, they said, Mother, never say that you are a happy person because they'll think you are not sensitive. I said, really? You think these French are very, very sensitive people? To what? Not to holiness. Not to purity. They are sensitive to God knows what. 10 feet you walk and you find a prostitute standing on the road. And about 10 feet you walk and you find 3 alcoholics lying on the street. These are sensitive people. Are they sensitive to their spirit? What are they sensitive to? What are they crying about? This is the very good thing that in the night you drink a lot, sleep with 10 women, and in the morning you feel guilty. Who has asked them to go into this kind of a mess? And then to come and sit down and cry, oh, I'm so guilty, I've done so wrong and so on. That's why I have to talk about it, that this center is very important also because it is the sister of Sri Krishna, Vishnu Maya, who rules it. The relationship between brother and sister is absolutely gone hayward in this country, in all the Western countries. For us Indians, we do not understand. Really, we cannot understand. And we cannot explain what it is. The other day only, we had a very interesting talk because 2 Indians have come with me, very, very great Sahajogis there. They said, Mother, why did they say that a girl cannot hold the hand of a girl? I said, you won't understand. He said, no, but we would like to know. You mean to say we should close all our schools, girls' schools in India? I mean, a girl can easily hold the hand of a girl is much better. I said, why? These people say, you see, it's rather difficult for you to understand. No, he said, but one thing I can't understand. That if a girl holds the hand of a man, will that be a holier relationship? See the accent. They think, will it be holy to hold the hand of a man? It won't be. But a girl is a holy relationship. So this holy relationship is lost in the so-called ventures of the brains, you see. Like, you see, if you go and see in the zoo, if there's a wombat, it behaves like a wombat. See? If there's a monkey, it behaves like a monkey. If there's a tiger, it behaves like a tiger. But a human being, you put him in the zoo. You will see he'll eat up all the fruits, he'll cut down all the trees, he'll go to all the depths of it, and he'll break his nose, he'll lose his ears, he'll spoil his eyes. He cannot sit quietly. That's why we have no sense as to what is a sister, the relationship of a sister with other women. This is so much missing that to talk about it in England was impossible. They said this is a Victorian, even an earlier lady talking. See, they brand it. You are Victorian, you are Georgian, or you are... Anyway, everything moves according to the kings that ruled that horrible England, and the kings themselves being so horrible. And the kings themselves were such horrible things. I mean, I don't know how they were ideals for them. So you are branded as a Georgian or a this or a that. Whatever you say, you see, they cannot see the integration of anything. They just, one sentence they'll catch hold of, oh, this is absolutely Victorian. I said, all right, doesn't matter, but it's good, whether you like it or not. As if Victorian everything to be condemned, there must be something good about it also. This is how the whole outlook is of the people, all the time trying to brand others. What about yourself? What brand are you going to give yourself? That's the point nobody wants to see. What brand am I? What is my brand? I am a brat. That's what you are. Sometimes I feel so many people, the way they think, they have no sense. Like in the night, a nocturnal animal would dash into that and dash into that. That's how they've broken themselves completely like mad. For what? Keep quiet. Be in the center. You had to just wait. It was going to happen. This is your own. You are the people who are searching the truth, for which it is all created. The whole scene is there. You have to just get it. Why are you breaking everything that God has given you? It's such a beautiful being He has created. You are the most beautiful person. Have you seen that when you go to the zoo, all the animals are looking at you? In the same way, they are looking forward to you. What have you got to give to them? I don't know. But once you get your realization, then you know the meaning of your being. Then you know what you are. And this is what one has to establish. We have really done lots of wrongs to ourselves by not understanding really self-estimation. One must know that you are the diamond, that you are the spirit, that you have to rise into the kingdom of God. You are specially made for this purpose. And right royal people you are, that you have to climb up there. Instead of that, you are lost into your egos and superegos, and frantically what you are doing is completely destroying all the chances of your ascent, which is so easily to be done. It's such a living force which is going to work out. It is not going to harm you in any way. It is for you only. It's all there. It is sahaja. It is within you. It is spontaneous. And it is going to work out. Only thing you have to know that you have not to treat yourself so shabbily and with such hatred towards yourself. There is no need to have such low opinion about yourself. This is the left side. The right side, of course, is of the people who talk big, you see, who say we say great politicians and things who just talk down people when they speak. They just dominate, and by their speech they control people. This is the center, right side. People who are hot-tempered and who lose temper and frighten people with their tempers, you see. They say such horrible things that people are just frightened of them, and just to keep them quiet, they manage somehow. This type of people have the right vishuddhi. They also have, when they have colds, coughs and all that, is a balance comes to them. When they have to talk too much also, they have to have this problem of right vishuddhi. And sometimes some people suddenly lose their voices, you see. When they talk too much, also they lose voices because the balance is created within them. Now the center one is that of Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna is the one who creates the witness within us. He's the one who refuted all kinds of formal, ritualistic things in religion. But he didn't become a hippie. That's one thing one should understand. That he didn't go to another extreme. You see, when he said that all these junks and formal things that are there, he didn't say that you take to drugs, another nonsensical formal thing. He said that if you have to get over these things, you have to see it as a drama. The whole thing is a joke going on. It's a drama going on. But for that you have to become. It's not a question of your achieving it by rational thinking. You have to go beyond your mind to achieve it. And that going beyond is done by the Kundalini. Now, if he did not do it, that does not mean that he was not in it. He was very much there. Like a painting you have, first you have the background, then you have another color, then you have your third color, now the fourth color, and now the time has come for the whole picture to be ready. Everybody has played their part, very important part in our evolution. Everyone is needed. Among you may be many who might be having a problem with Sri Krishna. Especially Hare Rama, Hare Krishna people, they suffer mostly from throat cancers. You can go and find out. Because they go against Krishna by taking his name so vainly. On Oxford Street they will stand with those things they get in the market, put them here, attach it here, and go on dancing, making mockery out of Sri Krishna's dignity. Like that, and apart from that, they take a name unauthorized. Who has given them authority to take the name of Sri Krishna? They spoil this chakra doubly, because if you take two mantras, you spoil left Vishuddhi very badly. All those who have taken these so-called mantras have spoiled their left Vishuddhi. Because these mantras are not like one mantra to someone. I mean, are we only one chakra part of the chakras? And that too, like Thinga means this and all these things, where are they within us? They ran short of the names, I think, so they started getting a hold of any names that they felt like, or they were sinister to give such horrible names to you. Left Vishuddhi you catch so badly. Mostly people who take to mantras, you will find when they speak, their lower jaw moves like this. They have difficulty in talking. They cannot talk properly. This is one of the things you'll find with them. They'll have pain in the left-hand side. They'll have pain at the back. This is the beginning of it. Any mantra given to you has to have logical meaning. It's a big science of mantra. It's not something nonsensical that you come here, I give you a flower, finished. It's a big science. You see how many deities there are. You must know where the problem is. It is like a kundalini rising in its living power. You know that here is the obstruction. And you want to get rid of that obstruction, then you say there the password and you pass through. When the kundalini has not started, what's the use of having a mantra? The kundalini is frozen down there. And you are saying a mantra for a chakra. Now it would be something like this, that I am frozen in England and I am saying a password for a bridge here. It is absurd because you are so naive about it. Our Indian modern people also who think they are very westernized and sophisticated, they also are equally naive. They don't want to read anything about scriptures. They are not translated in English. They do not know anything about mantra vidya. The mantra has to be connected with your development in a kundalini. Not only that, but it should relate to the movement of the kundalini. It should be given by a person who is a realized soul, jagrut, awakened. Mantra has to be awakened. And that you will find in Sahaja Yoga that it is such a temporary thing. For example, the kundalini is stopping at this point. Now what is the mantra of this point? Lord's Prayer. Or I forgive. To make it short. That's the weapon Christ has given us, of forgiveness. At this point, which stops your thinking. But any dictum and Hari cannot do it. You have to have realization first. Then only, because the kundalini has reached there, you know that it is stopping there, then you have to say that, all right, this is Lord's Prayer. You say Lord's Prayer, it opens up. What is the mantra over here? Is Allahu Akbar. You put these fingers are of this center. You put them here and say Allahu Akbar 3 times, it will open up. But you have to be a realized soul to begin with, or the one who is telling you has to be realized soul. There has to be some authority from God, not from theological college or anything. It's a mockery to get knowledge of God in theological college. I mean, you must enter into the kingdom of God to know what He is, what it is like, what is His whole vidya, His knowledge. Divine knowledge is very different from the knowledge you have. Have you ever known that this is Vishuddhi Chakra before? You have never known this before, it's not written anywhere. Some things had to be told by me also. So this was left for me to be told. Now this chakra, of Vishuddhi Chakra, gives you the witness state that Krishna has described. That you become the Sakshi. I would like you to also listen to my tape on Sri Krishna, which is very good. Recently I spoke about him in a very detailed manner about Gita also. We can have all these tapes brought down here to Melbourne and listen to them, but only listening to them is of no use. It's no use. It will give you ideas and you'll start behaving again in a funny way. I do not want you to make the same pickle out of me as you have pickled out other people. Put it to practice. Because when I spoke in America, they were all taping me down. And everybody said, Mother, you should not allow them to tape because you see these are all writers and this and that, and they will use your knowledge and spread the thing. I said, they will, let them do it. After all, Kundalini I have to awaken, they cannot do it. If they could do, I would be very happy to sit down. Let them do it, I'll be very happy. Anybody who says that, why should you, I said, very good, you come along here and do it. I'll be very happy to settle down, because I gain nothing. What is my gain? Anybody who is willing to do it, I'll be very happy to retire, absolutely, because by God's grace, I'm a married woman and I'm very happily married. I have my own children and grandchildren. Why should I bother my head of going around the people traveling like this? Yesterday in Sydney, here in Melbourne, today again go back to Sydney, then to India. Why should I do it? For what? Only because I love, because I know it's my mission. I have to do it. I'm supposed to do it. This is the job I have. But if anybody else can do it, I'll be very happy for them to do it. Now, when it comes to all these awakening and all that, it's a thing that happens to you. It is a thing that moves within you, and you have to feel the movement. It is not a blind lane where you just pay some money in the counter and say, now we enter into the blind lane and do what you like. Somebody says you jump, somebody says you do this and do that. Nothing. Everything is logical. First, your Kundalini must arise. If it does not arise, I cannot give you a certificate. You cannot give a certificate. Nobody can give you a certificate. It's nothing artificial. So in America, when I went and told them, and they had tape recorders and all that, something bad has also come out of it, because it's a born again. All these things have come from there, only from my lectures. Because I told the Christians when they called me, thinking me to be Christian in the churches, you see, they thought this is bona fide. Because I was baptized according to them. So I should be baptized by these people. So I am all right. I was bona fide. They called me in the churches. You see. And they also collected a collection for me. Very interesting. But the best part of it, some of them got up certain words. I said, you are to be born again, you are to be born again. So they have got a now cult called Born Again. Finished. It's very difficult to talk to these mad people. Anything you tell them, they make a cult out of it. Anything you know, they want to pickle out. You see, it's such a difficult thing with human beings. They don't want to take to reality. They want to have their ego everywhere asserting, by which they pluck out all that is living and make that dead ugly and say, this is mine, this is mine, this is mine. It's absurd. But this is what happens to us. Now about Christ, I think the greatest message of Christ is his resurrection. This is resurrection. That he showed what Krishna has said in his lifetime, that the spirit doesn't die. It cannot be killed. It cannot be blown out. It has to rise. And it rises. Whatever you may try, it is eternal. And that's I'm sorry, I was dealing with some newspaper people, journalists. They came very late. Whatever it is, I found them to be very sensible and very understanding. All of us have come to Aurangabad now, and it seems this place is full of vibrations. Maybe here Shalivahanas ruled in this area, but also there have been many saints who were born on this side of Maharashtra. and they perpetuated dharma, they always talked about self-realization. Dharma gives you the balance. It gives you the establishment into proper behavior, proper understanding, proper living. But it doesn't give you the completion of your journey. It doesn't give you the satisfaction of reaching the destination. And your personality is still incomplete. So one has to have the experience of the Spirit. As I was discussing with them today, I told them that those who do not have the experience of the Spirit are not only incomplete but are limited people. So whatever they see or whatever they know or whatever they criticize is limited. As in English we say that hate the sin and not the sinner. Like many people who find something wrong with Christianity start blaming Christ. Christ did not create Christianity, first of all. He did not create Christianity. He did not create Christians. So there's no relationship between the two. As you know, recently they have found out the books written by Thomas, the disciple of Christ, who was coming to India. On his way he went to Egypt. And there he wrote these treatises and had put them in a big earthen vessel, or perhaps it was a metallic thing. And it was discovered 42 years back. The people whom he considers to be authorized Christians, he calls them as Gnostic. Gna in Sanskrit language means to know. Gna means to know. And he has written that to know and to have the personal experience is the only way to follow Christ, clearly. Not only that, it said that God Almighty, who is so kind, why will He ask you to suffer? So it challenges all the Christian principles of sufferings. In the same way, in all religions, people have diverted from the right path and have come to the wrong path, and are indulging into self-created religions which has no relationship with reality or with the incarnations, those who started those religions or who gave the ideas of religion. I hope you won't do that to me, because you are Gnostic people. You are the ones who know, who have had self-realization. Without self-realization, you cannot have a complete personality. But as you see in Sahaja Yoga, you don't have to go to Himalayas to give up your families. You don't have to be away from the society to get your realization. You get your realization in the circumstances where you are born. In the same society, in the same family life, but you rise higher than them and try to pull them out of the mire in which they are existing. This mire of ignorance has to be crossed. And some of you have to do it. And when you realize that, then you should know that you all have to be very strong people. You all have to be extremely strong. If you are not strong enough, how can you pull out the rest of them? People who are mediocre think that gradually they'll be all right and that they'll come up. But I would suggest that you should make all-out effort to become strong Sahaja Yogis. To become strong Sahaja Yogis is not difficult, because you have all the powers within yourselves. You have the Kundalini within yourselves, and you know the way how to become a realized soul. The problems are of you being dragged into your ego or into your conditioning. Only two problems, not more. Like somebody asked, how many turns there are in London? Only two, left or right. So either you go to the left or to the right. All the permutations and combinations of this left and right starts working, and then you get into trouble. And then you get into problems. But actually it is a very simple thing. To get out of your ego should be the simplest, and that is where you try to understand yourself. You see yourself, how you are reacting, where is your attention, what are you doing, what is your attitude towards Sahaja Yoga. So many people think that this is my house, this is my family, this is my car, this is my horse, this is my dog. I don't know how far it goes by, my. But nothing is yours. Yesterday, as Kabira has said it, that some cheat, that is the death, will come and take away everything. That is not yours. Then my family, then my children. All this is a nonsense. And so, when you start getting attached to this word my, there where you fail completely into your own understanding of your ego, you are completely blinded by this ego. First of all, you should say that nothing is mine. Kabira has said that when the goat is living, she goes on saying, my means I, in Hindi language. It's played a pun on the word my. And when she dies, and her intestines are taken out, are made into something that spins the cotton, they go on the street, these people, telling people that they are around. They go on playing on that string, which is made from the intestines of these goats. It says tu hi, meaning you are. So one need not be like a goat, that till you live you go on saying I, my. When you die, then your intestines are to be taken out and put on that thing just to make the sound tu hi. So this sound of I is made only by egoistical human beings. But this ego is so much identified with you that you think that I am this ego and ego is me. And in that ego, you start doing all kinds of nonsensical things. This ego takes you nowhere. It takes you nowhere but into a complete mire of ignorance about yourself. Ultimately, you become stupid Others can tell you that you are stupid, or you become idiotic, or you get a bad name, and everybody knows that you are doing all wrong things. But nobody dare tell you, because you are to be reached with a barge pole. I said, it's a very funny habit I have got. But it's not such a dangerous one. It's quite good. So I am